I'm Jim Louderback. There we go. Now we have the AV going. I'm Jim Louderback. I'm the host of a bunch of the sessions today, along with my friend Robin Raskin, who will be doing some of the other stuff, who's over there somewhere. We're going to get started with a super cool session, but before that, just a couple other things happening here. How many of you people know Mark Rober? I did this joke yesterday. Mark's not coming, but his creative team will be here for an AMA at 2:45. How many of you people know YouTube? How many of you people want to hear about secrets of the YouTube algorithm? We have a mystery guest in the audience who's doing an AMA at 2:15 over in Studio C. Happens to be sitting over there. But we love that. But we're going to get started talking about gear. One of my favorite topics, gear, and gadgets and everything. And so whether you're just starting out or you've been doing it for a long time, optimizing your pro setup and getting your gear working really matters. Whether you're on the road or in a studio live streaming or on the road live streaming or whatever, having the right gear can be the difference between getting the great shot and having to just throw it all away. I know that's happened to me so many times. So whether it's cameras, lights, sound, software, production tricks, we got it all right here. We have a couple expert creators. We have a couple of people in the industry who are going to talk about pulling together the right gear, what's in their bags, and how they use those tools strategically to level up their content. So I'm going to briefly introduce them and bring them up here. They're not going to do any long introductions. They're all right up here. You all have phones in your pocket. You can definitely read about them if you want to. But moderating our session is Luria Petrucci. She's the owner at Live Streaming Pros. She's joined by Ryan Grams, the CEO of Studio Upgrade, Jefferson Graham, also known as Jeff, host, producer at Photowalks TV, and Juliana Broste, who is creator at TravelingJules. So, Luria, the stage is yours. Bring your folks up and let's get geeky on gear.
All right. Thank you so much, Jim. Hi, how are you guys doing this morning?
Good morning.
Awesome. Who is ready to just dive in? Jules just brought a special something for you. So
just walked up.
Literally just walked.
Arms full of cameras, as usual.
I love it. So
brand new camera.
We're going to get away. Hold on. We have to tease.
Okay.
We're just going to tease that. Brand new, but we're not going to tell you what it is just yet.
Oh, snap.
All right. So I love to go deep rather than shallow talk. Who's up for that? Yeah. All right. You guys can be noisy. You don't have to be quiet. So the first thing that I would love for you guys to answer is, what is the thing that keeps you going day to day? What do you love about what you do? I'm going to start with you, Ryan.
Absolutely. I'll never forget when I was like 12 years old. I went over to my best friend's house and I met his father, who happened to be a music producer. And it was so cool to walk into this home studio and see all this gear and wires and racks and stuff. And my whole life I've been a creative. I've been, on theater, on stage and a musician, but I've never really seen computing and music and creativity coming together like that. And honestly, since that day, fast forward to now, like that's what I love to do, is to build stuff that combines creativity and technology and then helping other people do that. Oh man, it's the best. I love it.
That's so awesome. Jefferson.
My show is about traveling the world in search of the greatest photo spots. And that's what I do. Now, what's not to love about that? Yeah. Every day is a new adventure.
Oh, I love that.
Same. I mean, as a travel creator, just being able to have different days, never one day is the same as the other, and just living in the spontaneous moments that come. It's so much fun and so refreshing. It's just a great reminder to be alive.
And in the last year, I've been with Jules in Cody, Wyoming, New York City, Las Vegas. Where else?
We hit the circuit.
Yeah.
Like we're business, a lot of
besties. Yeah. For me, I love being able to see people push beyond their limits and really discover what they're truly capable of when it comes to doing video and putting themselves out there in content. So, all right. So that's what we love about what we do and why we show up day in and day out. I would love for you guys to answer that for yourself as well and come up to us afterwards and tell us what that is for you. All right. So what is the one piece of gear that you cannot live without? I think that's the burning question in everyone's mind. Oh, wait, hold on. Before we get to that, you gotta introduce yourselves. We kind of introduced yourselves, but go ahead and Juliana, what do you do and what's your show?
I'm Juliana Broste. People call me TravelingJules because I'm always on the go.
True.
And I love to be on the road and I really don't like being at home. It's called my launch pad, right? I just love to go away and come back. But yeah, creating content, whether for brands or for my own channel, is just such a delight. And you asked about what is my one piece of gear. Well, literally 5 seconds ago, somebody handed me this exciting new material, new camera.
What is it?
To play with. And this is honestly my deal. I always have 500 cameras on me and I'm always like touching camera. So I don't know if I can really pick like a piece of gear. It's going to be
impossible.
Any camera is in my hand. I'm like an octopus with like a permanent camera in my hand.
It's true.
Wait, do you want to give it a plug? Canon?
Yeah. Canon just announced 2 really amazing cameras for creators. The PowerShot V1, which is a point and shoot, but it's got a really big 1.4 inch CMOS sensor. So excited to play with this. Literally, I have not touched it until this moment. And
literally right behind the scenes.
It's
she was like getting it out of her box.
So powerful, but compact and small. So I have a feeling I'm going to fall in love with this one. So. And then there's also the R50V, which is actually a popular vlogging camera, but the V part, I haven't even taken it out of the box, but the V part means that it's good for vlogging. Like there's a dedicated video mode and there's dual mounts. You can mount your camera, vertically. Mm-hmm. So I can't wait to play with these toys. Thank you.
Jefferson, introduce
So
yourself.
there's a lot of tech geeks here, and there's a lot of cameras with 1-inch sensors. But 1.4 inch, that's a new one.
Yeah. Wait, are you saying Tyson?
We're making our own rules over here.
Yeah, that's a new one for me. Hey everybody, Jefferson Graham here. I have been making videos daily since 2006. How about that?
Daily.
How about that? I have a series on YouTube and on Scripps TV. It's called Photowalks TV. I travel the world in search of the greatest photo places, take people on a virtual photo walk and offer them tips on how to get great photos on the phone that's in the camera that's in their pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the show got picked up by Scripps News in September as a weekly travel show.
Congrats.
So YouTube to TV, and
that's
it's doing
awesome.
great. Yeah. And in my previous life, I was a columnist for USA Today for multiple decades, and I made videos there all the time.
Wildlife.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ryan, you're up.
All right. Well, hello, everybody. I'm Ryan Grams. I'm the CEO of Studio Upgrade. I've got a booth here, actually. You're looking at the back side of it. But on the other side of that wall is my booth, Studio Upgrade. And my favorite piece of gear these days, it's definitely impossible to pick one, but I think I've really liked, because I work with a lot of people helping them create studios and setups that they can use to help them create their own content. And there's this piece of gear from SmallRig and a few other brands as well that lets you mount your camera in a way that it's very easy to rotate it. So I can just go like this, loosen it, and go whoop. Now I'm shooting vertical and now I'm shooting horizontal. So for those who are creating long form YouTube videos one day at their desk and next they want to do a short form for, TikTok, having a rig like this makes it really easy to have that very quick mode switch, if you will, without having to even take it out of the tripod with an L bracket or mess around with all that. I can leave all the cords plugged in where they are.
Totally.
I really like it. So SmallRig, they have my favorite one, but Ulanzi has some ones as well. And SmallRig is just over here. So definitely go check it out. It's awesome.
Sure.
I didn't give you mine.
I know.
Gear.
I was just about
Oh yeah, the gear. Yeah.
I was
so
like,
the gear that I can't live without. The iPhone. I do the entire series on the iPhone.
Oh wow.
So
cool.
Can I live without it? No, I can't.
That's amazing.
And I have multiple iPhones.
See, that's the real secret. Multiple.
Yeah, for
Yes.
sure, for sure.
Yes.
And for those of you who don't know me, I'm Luria Petrucci from Live Streaming Pros. And I really help entrepreneurs create professional videos effortlessly so that they can show up boldly and have a big impact on the world. And I do that through studio setups that are simplified and streamlined, as well as I build video studios. So we've got 2 studio geeks and 2 on-the-go travel geeks. So I love
record
that.
in the studio as well.
Well, okay.
I have a Zoom studio at home. That's
nice. Well, speaking of Zoom, the teleprompter would be my favorite piece of gear. Well, I mean, we can't choose. But if I had to choose a baby, it would be my favorite baby because it's the most versatile, right? So it's not only good for scripts, it's also good for Zoom calls and being able to connect with your attendees in your meeting calls.
Yep.
And then you can use it as bullet points even too, right? So there's a lot that you can do with a teleprompter. So that really is one of mine.
I love it.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about, is there one piece of gear that you think that, regardless of your favorite piece of gear, that every creator should have?
A microphone. I mean, like, you have to. Like,
that is
you
fair.
can't, like, there's a lot of cameras, mics keep getting better and better, and there's a lot of great AI tools. But anybody who ever asks me, what should I get first? It's always going to be, my answer is a microphone. Any kind of mic, honestly. Like, start with whatever you can get your hands on.
All you have to do is go to the Western Digital booth and they say, we're giving away swag. What would you like? Do you want a hat? You want a shirt? Or how about a microphone? I swear.
What?
They're handing out microphones.
That's awesome.
Which booth was that?
Western Digital.
All right, everybody write that down.
And there's a lightning connector on one side. There's a USB-C connector on the
Wow.
other side. And then there's a plug to go into the
Interesting.
camera.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Ultimate swag.
I'm with you on the mic, but I would say that, gotta start on the phone.
I know that was a really good answer. I would say every creator needs to have an intervalometer, which is not even a thing that I have because mine is built into my camera. But I just use that like a time lapse. If you were to take a time lapse of the clouds going by, I take time lapses of myself doing selfies. But it's so helpful for thumbnails, especially I don't have a crew. So I can just set up my tripod or put my camera on a ledge or a chair or something and just let it snap every second. And then I can come home with a few options. So that's my favorite.
That's a good one.
Just remember the time-lapse mode is in every camera, every
the new
phone.
one.
Every
the phone.
Every phone has a time-lapse.
Jefferson's going to keep bringing it back to the phone. Back to the phone. All right. Well, when we think about,
I want it to be like merged, separated.
Yeah,
I don't want the
Jules
movie.
likes
I like the
video
photo.
files.
I don't want a time lapse of me doing the selfie. I want separate photos for the thumbnail.
no, that makes sense.
Like, I love how you use it, Jules, because like she'll set it on time lapse and she'll let go. And at the end of, like some shoot, she'll have like 800 pictures. It's like, what am I going to do with all these raw files? It's really big, but the plan isn't to keep them and turn it into a time lapse video, but actually to just pick your top few, right?
Pick the one where the whole group photo, like everyone looks the cutest, but you can't always trust the person who
It's kind of like a really big burst mode. Like when you do take 10 photos, it's like, no, let's take 1,000 photos.
The Blackmagic app, which is free, iOS and Android, shoot one frame every minute. And you'll have plenty to choose from.
But then you got to pull it out of a video file.
Yeah,
that sucks. Then you got to keep the whole thing.
I'm not like into taking the screenshot, even though you shoot 4K. Like the screenshots are not always like the moment.
I think the big thing when you're using a camera with an intervalometer, you're shooting whatever your camera can, like a 40 megapixel photograph, over and over and over, and so you get a really, really high quality image that you just pick the best one from. Yeah, you're gonna have like a full memory card of like one little session, but the plan isn't to keep all those, just to pick a few. And you wind up with a really, really high quality image.
I will agree with both of you that you'll get higher quality.
Oh, yeah. Much higher quality.
We win.
But everybody in this room has a phone with an app. So.
Yeah, exactly. Use what you got. That's for sure.
And, I think we're going to talk about this a little bit later as well, but it really is needed to determine the end result. So do you care about the highest quality, or do you care about the ease of use or the thing that you want versus quality? So I think that's something to really pay attention to in your decision making, right?
Yeah. I always say the best camera is the one that you have. Yeah. Whatever you've got, start there. And then, when you're ready to upgrade, find the right next step for yourself.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk a little bit about struggles. So it feels like when it comes to video creation, there's a struggle of some point, a friction point.
Non-stop.
Wait, those of you who did not raise your hands, come up to us afterwards.
Yeah, please. What is your secret? We got to know.
What is your biggest struggle? We've all been doing this for many years, and still there's a friction point. So what is yours?
Just time management. I just feel like I wish I could be a clone and have 400 people helping me. But I want to do it myself because I really love the process and I want to be in control. So just really being honest about what's possible, setting realistic expectations and priorities. I just understand I can't do everything. I wish I could. So yeah, especially if I'm dealing with a client, being really realistic about what's possible with the amount of time and the budget and what all the factors, how the whole recipe comes together.
That's fair. Jeff?
I'm primarily a solo creator like Jules, and it's a struggle getting the stand-up done. frankly.
Yeah.
When you're shooting on the phone and you have no monitor and you're not sure, you just end up doing it over and over and over again.
So true.
I did a stand-up in New Orleans on the latest episode. I was really happy with it. Then I looked in the corner. There was a homeless guy under an umbrella on the side. And I said, no, I don't think so.
Generative AI.
I was going to say, AI, I'm out.
Or a simple crop. Yeah, but it's just walking back and forth.
I know you can't see everything with the little screen sometimes.
Yeah.
Till you get home.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh man, struggle. I think it really is probably similar to what Jules is saying. Like I love all the gear and there's a lot to learn and figure out, but honestly, the hardest part has been learning about like time management, scheduling, prioritizing. Like I'm very much like squirrel jumping all around. And that's, I think of it as my superpower in a lot of ways. It allows me to do a lot of things, but it gets really easy to get off track. And so finding the right tools, like time blocking for me has been like, oh my God, where has this been my whole life? Okay, it's on my schedule. I'm going to develop content right here at Thursday at 3:00 every Thursday. And that is so helpful for me to be able to have set aside time for those
Only
things.
Thursday at 3, huh?
That's all I got time for.
I'm with you guys because it's like time management is one of the key blockers, especially I work with a team and I think you do too.
Yep.
And like you think that that's going to deliver bigger results for you and help you with your time, but then you have to manage the team and so there are factors to consider with that. So it's, I think as long as we stay kind of in the zone, paying attention to the goal, the thing that we're trying to accomplish, then it makes it a little easier.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Anybody feeling that?
So important. Yeah.
And I know this sounds crazy, but just having a deadline kind of helps. Like if I wake up early and I have a meeting at 10 a.m., that's actually really good because sometimes I can edit something in like 1 hour. And then I'm like, oh my God, I got to post this before I get on the call,
Yeah, your superpower really kicks in when you've got a deadline. It's kind of fun.
Any other tips for the time management?
God, my brain is just going all day long. I work on this, work on this, work on this, and I'm just juggling nonstop. And I could keep going all day long. There's always something to do.
And I think having like a format, like if I know it's going to Instagram and I'm using a popular song, the limit is 30 seconds. So even if I want to make a 4-minute documentary, it's like, well, I can't. So I get stuck and that actually makes it faster.
Yeah, having those parameters.
I will say I make a list every morning and I go down the list, but the number one priority is getting the video edited. And finished.
Well, you edit like 30 minutes of video at a time because his show is 30 minutes.
Smokes.
So it's like, I don't know how you do that.
Jeez.
A lot. 4 days. 4 days.
Oh my God.
Well, and I think that that's a key factor is like, okay, you've got to also take time for yourself, right? I find I'm more productive when I'm actually doing the things when I actually go outside and take a hike or get on my paddleboard or do the things that bring me joy and relieve the pressure. So I think that's also a big factor.
Setting aside thinking time for sure.
Yes.
For me, it's worked great. I've got a 1-year-old puppy at home and he obviously needs to be taken for walks. And I found like, it's the perfect time. Every morning and night, I'm taking a walk and I'm thinking through all this stuff and I'll try to pull up my watch and, give notes. Remember this, cause it just comes to you. It's so great. Yeah.
All right. I have a question for you guys. And again, don't be shy. Raise your hand if you are doing studio filming, studio recording.
All right. Okay. Look at that.
And raise your hand if you're doing travel or on the go. Okay. And some of you raise your hand both. So, all right. So what is the difference between, or the key differences between studio and on the go filming and a gear that we choose?
Control.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think you guys are nuts. Like being outside in the weather. Oh my Lord.
We have it easy. We have AC.
The studio freaks me out because it's so controlled. I'm like, what do we do with this? Like, how can we make anything creative in here? But when you're in the field, I love to just observe like, okay, that's ugly. That looks good. Okay. There's someone doing something cool. No, you just like follow, like magnet the thing that like interests you. You just suddenly like, what can I make a story about this one? I like that some of the puzzle pieces are already there and it's up to you to drive it home into a good story.
When I'm in the field, I'm running and gunning and I'm trying to capture a place over a 3-day period and do the best I can in 3 days. And I got a long list of places I'm going to and interviews I'm doing and it's just run. In the studio, I got, in the middle of, I work in a garage. I've got a tripod, cameras on top, teleprompters on it. I got a backdrop. I've got a place to sit. I've got the roadcaster. I got the mic. Click, turn on the button. And then my laptop's right there. Click record in Ecamm, and that's it. Oh, I put on the lights also.
There we go.
It's all
yeah,
set.
Don't forget the lights.
Yeah. So it's very easy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think they said it best. Like field work, hard. Studio work, easy. No. No. It's a lot of fun. Having the control, I think, allows, and this is a lot of what I do, right, is helping my clients fine tune and get it really, really polished and the lighting perfect, the audio set, just like you were saying, so you can walk in and as much as possible, just hit record and
I call that set it and
friction.
forget it.
Yeah, set it and forget it, That being said, yeah, like having that variety, getting out of that studio is so important. And one way that a lot of my clients will do it is they'll shoot their talking head stuff, for lack of a better word, in their studio, and then they'll get their B-roll without having to have the audio to worry about or lighting, like when they're outside, and try to find a way to weave that all together.
Yeah.
But to do what you guys do and both, in the field, talking heads, like worrying about lighting. I mean, it's a lot of work.
Well, I will say that, so I've done in my past a lot of run and gun, like around show floors and, outside. So I've experienced both setups, and I would say that at the end of the day, it's all about prep.
Totally.
Right? Like whether we're running and gunning and, okay, you disagree?
Well, yes, prep. Keep going. But
studio, if you're going to set it and forget it, you've got to prep for the outcome that you're trying to accomplish. If you're running and gunning, you've still got to prep the gear and the packs that you're taking with you so that you have everything if this happens. That's kind of where I was going.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, batteries. Oh,
you're right
God.
on the money. Yeah. I'm sorry. I just was thinking, though, as you said that, I was like, because in the field, though, minus all the prep, it never goes the way you planned it. So I was like, yes, prep. And then prep for not being ready. You're never ready.
Yeah.
You never have enough time. And that's what I actually like about it.
Yeah.
Is like, okay, what are we going to do? The weather's bad, or someone didn't show up, or, just like things just aren't the way you planned. And then you make a story out of that.
All right. I also say, I believe the studio is fine and it looks fine, but it always looks better out in the field. Always looks better.
Okay. Why do you say that?
Yeah.
I just think it looks better.
Okay.
Yeah. Better how? Elaborate.
I look better outside than I do inside. Yeah.
The daylight that makes your skin glow.
So you like the way you look outside better.
Generally, it depends what the outfit looks like.
I live in the beach community in Angeles. I will run down to the beach and go to the pier and do a stand-up.
Yeah.
I'm right here. Okay.
No, I
think the battery.
Okay.
One more.
I live in a beach community in Los Angeles, and I will run down, stand up under the pier. And some of the microphones working, some of the microphones not working.
Do we got any other microphones, gentlemen?
This is part of the prep for anything that goes wrong.
One of our mics is dying. Do you got any other ones?
Jules, maybe we should do John and Paul, huh?
Yeah, we can do that for sure.
We could double mic you.
What would you guys like to hear about stuff that doesn't work? Does that sound good? Yeah. All right. So what are the pieces of gear that you've bought? I'm thinking like the QCat, but for video. That nobody.
Weird inventions?
Yeah, no, just any piece of gear that doesn't quite work as you had expected.
Okay, I have to go first because I'm so excited about this. Sometimes I make a mistake when you accidentally don't plug your microphone in all the way. Like if you're running around and like it gets like tangled and like pulled out just a little, it's gone. Yeah. And I think as a vlogger and a creator, when I'm out there, I'm not actually listening to the sound, which when I'm being hired as a professional, I'm always wearing headphones, listening. Yeah. And so now I'm more often to follow the little waveforms that are bouncing and just be like, okay, it's there. But you stop looking at it sometimes too. So anyway, so many times I've come back when I try something new, like audio wise. And if the sound is gone, that gut feeling of like, like you want to die.
So when I'm interviewing somebody, I've got it going. And both of us have mics on. I can't look at the audio forms. Yeah. I have to look in their eyes. And I've had many times where I'm mic'd, but they're not.
Oh, no.
Yeah, or the other way around. I can live without mine. That's fine. As I'm interviewing somebody, I just care about what they have to say.
Yeah.
But so I was using the Rode Wireless Pros, which has a cable.
Yeah.
Then I switched to the new one, which is the wireless micro that snaps into the USB-C. Beautiful. No problems whatsoever, minus the cable. The other product, I say nix on all phone gimbals. They all claim to be doing something. They all claim to be doing something. They do nothing. I've done back to back just holding a selfie stick versus the gimbal, and maybe 2% better.
I have felt ostracized for saying the same thing. So
I'm here to ostracise you both. I think that's a lot of baloney.
Phone gimbal, not a camera gimbal.
Yeah, no, a phone gimbal, a good gimbal is a wonderful tool. Yeah, it's great. I love the DJI. It's a great one. Yeah.
All right. So, anything else that comes to mind with that? Like any specific, I mean, you kind of mentioned that.
To fill your point, I think
final...
that, I've been doing production for 20 plus years now, and it's like incredible how many times I'd hate to admit that I didn't realize I double punched, where you hit record and then you hit record again and stop and you start recording. And so it's like, man, all right. Now anytime I'm doing anything, I'm like always looking for the red light, always looking for that dot.
Yeah.
How many shots do you have of your foot walking?
I know, right? Yeah, it's like 5 minutes of my camera swinging around. Yeah, oh my God.
I would say, go ahead.
Well, also like just thinking through about mistakes would be when you come home having a strong workflow because you don't want to lose any of this precious footage.
Yeah.
Like I know we don't need the shot of your foot, but we can delete that one. But so many times if you come home and you're sleepy and you pass out and you forget to download the footage, just make sure you actually do. Because as soon as you do like a meeting and then suddenly you're having lunch and then you forgot and you're like, which cameras? And you just don't want to get messy. Yeah. So just have a routine, like force yourself to download the card every day. That way you never, and then have a protocol, like double copy the footage twice.
Back it up.
Then wipe it immediately. I always wipe immediately because I don't want to get confused again.
Exactly. Yeah.
3 copies. But that is like a big mistake. If you ever accidentally delete a card that would be the worst.
Totally.
In my brain, it's, I'm home. If I don't, copy the footage now, what if somebody comes in the middle of the night and steals the card?
Because they're that type of burglars.
Exactly. The media
memory cards.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
Forget about the computer. We don't care.
A memory burglar.
All right. How many of you guys are on, let's talk budgets, an unlimited budget for gear? I don't see any.
No one
praise.
Again, we should talk to you after the show.
So most of you are on a budget, right? Like you have to think about what you're spending your gear on or your money on. Let's talk about budget versus like quality. What pieces of gear can provide quality without spending high?
That's so tough. Cause like, how do you define high? You know what I mean? I'm constantly asking, my clients, how can I help? They're like, well, what do I got to spend? Well, it's like, well, what I can help you understand is you tell me how much you can spend and I'll give you the absolute best options. You know what I mean? And it changes at the different tiers, right? If you can spend 10 grand, well, great. Let's get an FX3, a full frame lens, but you're going to spend $5K just on your camera.
Okay. Well, how about this? We think about it as a ratio, right? So if I have X number of dollars to spend on a camera versus another camera.
That's tough too, though. That's tough too, because how do you put a ratio? Like microphones, the scale is way different, you know, like it starts at 100, caps out around a couple grand, it's like, but cameras starts at a couple hundred, caps out at 30 grand,
Well, what about like the MacBook camera, right? The MacBook camera built in for a studio environment. The webcam.
Yeah. Right? Not on the new ones. The new webcam camera is amazing. Yeah. With the AI, bokeh, everything. It looks fantastic.
Yes.
On the iMac?
No, on, the iMac too, but the new MacBook Pros have incredible, the best webcams I've ever seen. Yeah. And most of it's because of the AI.
I have tricked my audience.
Yeah. It looks like a DSLR.
Asking them what camera am I using.
Yeah. With good lighting, it looks like a freaking DSLR. It's crazy.
So I would love to hear that from you guys. Like what pieces of gear can they like budget less?
I would say I'm a bad person to ask because I like the name brand best thing out there. I don't care what it costs and if I can't afford it, I'll just wait. Yeah. I don't like to spend my money on little crappy cheap things. I want to wait till I get the good thing. Yeah. And then I'll buy it. So the good thing, for example, would be like my tripod. It's carbon fiber and it's tiny and I can carry it and I use it every day and I use it all the time. And if I was to buy an aluminum tripod, it would be a little bit heavier, maybe even bigger if I was going to go really budget on that. And that's an example, like I will wait till I can afford the carbon fiber one just so that I have a little bit more lightweight.
Yeah. I definitely can't wait.
Okay. So I have the Peak Design carbon tripod and it was a life changer.
Like
it's light. It's beautiful to walk around with. I'm happy to walk with it. And as far as the teleprompter goes, you want to talk about life changer for $250?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Put that baby up and you're doing courses. You're doing Zoom calls. You're doing your own videos. So many things you could do with it.
Yeah. Totally.
And that's really affordable and really good, cool.
Awesome. All right. So we're going to go over just a little bit on time, but we have a Q&A section over here.
AMA.
I'm going to steal just like 2 more minutes because we cannot wrap this up without AI talk.
Okay, cool. I just want to let you know this is so good that we are going to go do an AMA over in Theater C.
Theater C.
So as soon as they're done, I'm going to lead them over, and you're all going to come with us if you want to. You don't have to. But if you want to hear more about all this gear, which I do, I'm just going to ask them questions if you don't. So go ahead. You got
Awesome.
2 minutes.
Okay, AI. We can't not talk about it. How is it changing the content production, planning, post-production, any of it?
All
Jules?
of it.
I mean, I think Ryan should go first because he's in love with AI.
No, I mean, everything from the way I plan, the way I script, the way I, connect, the way I write emails, everything on the development side has completely changed. Obviously, ChatGPT and learning how to leverage it, brain dump into it and then get, organized thoughts out of it. I don't know about you, but I'm kind of a creative person and it's not easy for me to organize my thoughts. And now it is. It used to be really difficult. I would dread writing emails. Now I look forward to it, so that's really changed. And my goodness, if you haven't seen what the latest model in ChatGPT for imagery, the Sora image model and then the Sora video model are just like incredible, just absolutely incredible. So putting together sometimes B-roll, it's just like everything has changed.
All right. You're going to ask him more questions about that at the AMA, Jeff.
Okay. So, ChatGPT is very funny. It knows so much about me and it's a really interesting experience. One prompt the other night was, I've already done these 2 videos in Las Vegas. I'm here. What should I do a video about? I said, oh yes, we really like those videos that you did, and gave me 5 ideas, 2 of them which were actually pretty good. Another thing that you take your transcript of your YouTube video and then put it in ChatGPT, say, write an article based on my content. Yeah. And it does an okay job, but it's a good starting point for me to then rewrite it.
Totally.
And then descriptions and titles.
Yeah. And I just want to mention that for me, one thing that's important to me is having a good thumbnail. And I think sometimes the photo is shot like a certain way or cropped a certain way and it doesn't work vertical and horizontal at the same time. So just finding ways to generate that extra little top or bottom, even if it's a sit-down interview, you can still generate the top if it's on a tripod and it's not moving.
Yeah.
So I found creative ways to use AI to help me, reframe my content.
Awesome. All right. Super, super fast. How do they find you?
You can find me at TravelingJules everywhere. I also have a website called The Video Hustle where I put all my camera gear love.
Nice.
PhotowalksTV.com and then my newsletter, which comes out often, JeffersonGraham.com.
Awesome.
Ryan.
StudioUpgrade.com and I'm on Instagram as Ryan Grams, Grams.
And you're
Grams here.
Yeah.
I got an H in my
Graham
name.
with an H. Grams with an S.
Yeah. Thank you for that clarification. I'm live streaming pros on YouTube and website. I think we're done. How was that? Did you guys get something from it?
Yeah, everyone coming over to AMA.
Okay, let's go unbox these cameras.
I know, right? Come on.
Give it up for these guys, and we are going to move over to Studio C for an AMA for about a half hour, answer questions.